In this video, I'd like to talk about working with images in Figma. So we can import images much like any other software, and to do that, you go to this little bar at the bottom, under this little shape thing, and there's images and video, and you can navigate to whatever you like from your Finder. However, there's other ways to bring in images. You can simply drag and drop from the desktop in, and something a little different than other software is if you copy an image, you can paste it right from the internet into your space. So let's find a kitten here. This one. We'll go over here, copy image, and we can paste it right into Figma. You can also copy and paste from one frame to another. So to do that, I do Control-Alt-C, and I can also do here, copy properties, and then Control-Alt-V, paste properties, and copy and paste from one frame to another. So that's handy. Unlike InDesign, all your imagery is hosted by Figma. So it's uploaded in the cloud. You can work on your file in other places, and your images are kind of embedded in the file. So they're not linked to other places, which has pros and cons. If I do this, if I grab a corner and move it, I resize the image, and you notice here that the image stays kind of covered within that box, which is kind of the default behavior of a CSS cover property. If you want to crop, you can go over here and change it to crop mode, but actually I think a lot easier is just to hold down Command, and that lets you crop on an image. And now that it is in crop mode, when we do this, we actually stretch the image, so we don't want to do that. If you double click, you can move the image within the frame and rotate it and whatnot. Also double click. Now this, while we're in crop mode, we can reposition our image. Also different to other software is we can do some manipulation within some kind of simple manipulation within Figma itself. So change the color temperature, change the highlights and shadows, and that sort of thing. You can also bring in video as long as it is an MP4 and less than 100 megabytes, in the same way you bring in images. We can stack our fills. So for example, if I want to have like a blue tint over this, and we'll change it to blue, and we'll bring the opacity up. We can do that. So like a blue overlay, and that's right within the fill here. We can also change the blend mode over here. So we can do different blend modes, very similar to Photoshop, and turn those on and off. And like the other things we've been looking at, the behavior of images is, once it's in a frame, is contingent on its constraints. So one thing you'll notice here, this is very different than Illustrator, is although my image seems like it's in this frame, it's not actually in there until I see it under the frame in the layers view. So if I cut it and paste it in here, now when I go down to 1, I can see that my image is in there. And then when it's in there, the constraints start to update and that sort of thing. So that's something to be on the lookout for. Just because it is in the position over your frame doesn't mean it is necessarily in your frame. And, if it's in fill mode, kind of centers the image in the frame, but we can also crop if we want. If we have changed it to crop mode but want to reset it, you go over here and change it back to fill. Okay, that's the basics of images in Figma.